Hello, everyone, and welcome to this next episode of SPINcast. Here, I have the director of esports at Oklahoma Christian University, Lucas, here with me. So I will let him introduce himself and his school, and then we'll dive right in.
Sure. Thank you so much for having me. So my name is Lucas Hayworth. I'm the director of esports at Oklahoma Christian University. I've been a part of the program, building it up for about 3 years now, and I'd love to share any and all information that I have with anybody here.
Awesome, awesome. So first things first, is your program more varsity oriented or club?
It's a great question to start out with because a lot of programs do differ on that, and they also
Hmm.
differ on when they're housed. So for our program, initially back in 2018, when it very first began, we were a student-ran club. But then when I came on board, I kind of took it over as the director and turned it into an athletic level program as a club sport. So we're housed under athletics. We're considered varsity, and we participate in varsity esports through like NECC. Eventually, we'll probably partner with NACE, that kind of stuff.
Awesome. Well, cool to see the growth. Do you guys still also have like a club body underneath, or is it
hmm
now more so like just the varsity program?
They're two separate entities now. So on our campus, we have the esports sport under athletics, and then we have the OC Gaming Club, which is
Hmm.
that student club, but it's transformed into all of gaming and like not just esports and their mainstream titles, but also tabletop, D&D,
Sure.
Catan, tabletop, like other stuff like that.
Awesome. Well, that's cool that I was able to stick around and still grow from there. How many players, teams do you guys currently have?
So right now we have about 70 total student athletes across all of our teams. We have 9 active teams right now, but our total list of involvements are Apex, Call of Duty, CS:GO, Fortnite, Halo, League of Legends, Overwatch 2, Rainbow Six Siege, Rocket League, Smash Ultimate, Splatoon, Valorant, and VR with Beat Saber.
Gotcha. Cool, cool, cool. What games are you currently recruiting for? Is there any additional ones off that, or is it kind of all the same ones?
Right now, we're recruiting for all of those, but there's 2 inactive teams that we're still building up. Our CS:GO team and our Overwatch 2 team, respectively. I have one student for each of those titles that I'm kind of building around, and we're doing trials throughout this month and next month, hopefully ending up signing people for the spring and fall of next year. But we're really looking to build those two, and I'm really looking for like PR or national talent within Smash Ultimate to give sizable
Mm,
scholarships to kind of help bolster not only our scene, like just at OC, but also the whole state of Oklahoma,
mm.
because we're kind of like a mid-region, and we're really centrally located to a lot of different events like Low Tide City and stuff like that. And so, really looking to bring in talent to kind of bolster our scene and to kind of cross between different states in that specifically through Smash Ultimate.
Gotcha. Well, based on what you said, obviously have a lot of teams and a lot of different games. What's kind of your thought process between you see some schools that maybe focus on like 3 to 4 titles, in your case where you're focusing on a lot more?
Yeah, I think the biggest part of that is allocation of resources. So
Mm,
not only just scholarships, but just manual labor and mental capacity as well. Because some directors are a lot less experienced, I guess, with gaming and gaming culture. A lot of directors end up being people that are endemic to academia and then kind of brought in to kind of run esports. Whereas it was kind of opposite for me. Like I was part of the gaming culture and the esports culture, and I was brought in to build it in academia. So I have a lot more mental capacity and just general knowledge of the gaming sphere and the esports sphere, and so it's a lot easier for me to juggle around multiple titles, and I can identify the least common denominator in all of them and
mm,
kind of find that in players. So when you have the other part of that as well, besides like just the director gap, I guess, is the resources and differential of resources. So if you're under like IT, student affairs, stuff like that, typically you'll have less resources available, whether it be facilities, scholarship, space, stuff like that. And sometimes administration will even give the top-down directive of, hey, you can only have a maximum of 25 students in this program.
mm-hmm.
Here's a blank check. Go do it and bring the best teams ever for me.
Yep. Gotcha. Gotcha. What are or do you guys offer esports scholarships along with that? Kind of sounds like you guys do based on what you're
Mhm.
saying.
Yeah, we definitely have scholarships available for all of our titles. In fact, a vast majority of the 70, barring a couple of walk-ons, a vast majority of them are on some form of scholarship. I
Hmm.
also have scholarships not only for esports in the competitive sense, but also for operations. So I have a student on scholarship for social media, one for broadcast and live stream production, a couple for graphic design, and I'm looking for a lot more of that type of organizational scholarshiping in the future once people really start caring about it in the esports sphere.
Yeah, no, I got you. That's definitely like a slowly growing thing that we've
For
seen as
sure.
well. What are kind of some of the main traits or skills that you look for in a recruit specific to gaming?
Yes. So the main thing, the number one main thing is communication. If the student athlete is willing to communicate and is very punctual and active, polite, well spoken, well versed in their communication, that's like the most important thing for me to identify. Hey, is this person have a good work ethic? Are they taking this seriously? Do they really care about what they're trying to do? If they have really good communication, typically that's pretty endemic to that. And then the
Mhm.
next would be engagement and direction. I want students that really care about their team and the program. I want students that really want to put in that effort to grow themselves alongside their peers.
Definitely an important trait for sure. Do you, excuse me, do you guys host events or like camps throughout the year?
That's a great question. In the future, we'll look to do camps, but really the main kind of events we're looking for are spaces that we can use our facility for the better good. So
Hmm.
eventually we'll be doing some like charity streams and stuff like that. Right now we're kind of testing the waters and identifying what can we do with our space, like limit testing, because our space is a little bit unique. So we host a weekly Smash tournament that just plays into the OK Smash scene. We host around 30, 15 to 30 people, not just students, but all community members that are
Hmm.
able to come in. And we're looking to host a rather larger monthly slash regional level event in the future, pushing around 100 and 150 people. So we're trying to just see where we can take our space and where we can use it for the best purpose possible. But right now, we're kind of keeping it smaller.
No, no worries. You mentioned you kind of have a unique space. So what does your like esports facility space kind of look like or operate as?
Yeah, so our esports facility is, I guess, closed door. Like not everybody in the campus is always in and out.
Sure.
The gaming club uses it sometimes on reservation, but the esports facility is for the sports members. It's like a practice room basically, but it's rather large. So it's about 6,000 square feet. It's about 18-foot vaulted ceilings. The whole thing
Hmm.
is concrete, and so that's the biggest issue with it is we're trying to figure out the echo reduction. But
Hmm.
it's in its infantile stages. It still has. It's not even a year old yet, so we're trying to figure it out. But because we're Oklahoma Christian University, we're a non-for-profit organization, and so everything that we've done with the facility with esports and everything else on campus, for that matter, has all had to been fundraised, so or donated to. So that also included our facility. So right down the road at UCO, University of Central Oklahoma, they took a lot of their student fees and redid their bookstore into an esports space called the Co-op. You can find pictures of that elsewhere online. It's a beautiful space. Don't get me wrong, but it was like a 1.2 or 1.7 million dollar project. With our
Hmm.
space, including everything, labor, equipment, renovations, all that stuff, we turned an old office space into what we have right now for less than 100 grand. So
Wow.
it's been a labor of love and passion from everyone involved, including the physical plant workers on our campus, and I'm really grateful to them.
Awesome. Well, that's cooler than this. Sounds like you guys got a pretty new space. And obviously, yeah, take some time to get used to it, figure all the little things out like sound and stuff like that. You kind of answered a question I had, which was, if you kind of look for students who aren't players looking to help the program in non-player roles, if you wanted to kind of expand it off anything there.
Yeah, for sure. So in the non-player roles, I'm literally just looking for people that are more dedicated and more communicative than anything else. Like if I can find someone that has a good work ethic, I will train them from the ground up and work alongside and learn with them in any capacity possible. Like I don't care what it is, as long as you're passionate about it and you want to put in that effort and you have that work ethic, I will literally sit down and work with you as long as you possibly need. That's just the most important part for bringing in someone in those non-player roles. Talent, skill, portfolios, that kind of stuff, all is correspondent to the amount of scholarship that you're probably going to get. But
Hmm.
no matter what, I can definitely offer people scholarship to bring them on board for these non-player roles, and that's something I'm super passionate about because bringing in those people that are the non-player side of esports, that's all of esports. Like if you look at a major production event, let's take the Big House 10 for example, the big Smash tournament that just occurred. The only people that we kind of get to see from the consumer standpoints are the players and the casters typically, and sometimes the audience. But beyond that, there are so many other factors, so many of the roles, so many of the workers that go into producing that event. Not only from the venue side of things, just getting it started, and then from the TO side of things, from getting it all planned out, from the visionary aspect, the budgetary aspect, bringing in sponsorships, partnerships, bringing in the casters and the roles, locating and identifying that talent, sourcing all that talent, identifying what the space needs to transform in the venue itself. So an event planner, an event designer, Then you have everything from networking to social media to graphic design to production to videography, even like
Hmm.
it. The list goes on and on, man. So like creating an
Yep.
esports program or an organization or an event, either one, both take on so many different roles, and there's so many moving parts. And I really think that building up the non-players and giving them that on-the-job experience using our facility that we have on campus will get them that job in that future and get at least give them the tools needed to even make their own version of it in the future. Because at the end of the day, esports is all grassroots. It's all
Hmm.
passion.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where, if you turn on a sports game or you go to watch a play or go to a movie, you see the main characters, the players, whatever, but you kind of the people who are doing the production, all that stuff, kind of get swept under the rug in the sense of like you don't realize it because you
Yep.
can't see them.
Yep.
So no, definitely agree there. What's some of the biggest challenges that you face or have faced with your program?
That's a really good question. So I spent a long time trying to think about this, but
Hmm.
the biggest challenges that I faced with my program, I would have to say, is getting people engaged was like one of the biggest initial challenges that I've had. I've kind of
Hmm.
solved it a little bit over the years. But the biggest challenge with getting people engaged is the kind of source of it was what is the scope of our program? What's the vision of what we're trying to accomplish? And all of that wasn't really clear and it wasn't handed to me from the top down like a lot of schools are. I had to develop and create my own goals, my own vision, my own scope for the program. And so I was kind of just doing everything by trial and error, man. It took a long
Hmm.
time to figure things out. But one of the biggest challenges early on with recruiting was just me bringing in numbers just for the sake of numbers. And that's how I got a lot of students that weren't communicative, that weren't really trying to push and challenge themselves, that didn't really care about it. And so eventually those people don't last long. And so I was able to get them out and replace them with people that do care. And I fixed my recruiting process to really identify people that are willing to put in that extra work, that are willing to grow themselves and push the boundaries. And so I'm really happy with where we're heading right now, and where we're at right now is a beautiful spot as well. So I'm very proud of everyone that's in the program currently, and I'm very proud of what we're being able to accomplish with what we have.
So it sounds like almost being a little bit pickier in the sense of like what students you're looking for based on what
Mm.
specific traits or skills you need for your program.
Yeah, that's definitely a part of it in the recruiting process, is identifying what is the most valuable criteria in the recruit for your program. There are some A-level recruits that are like would be an immediate asset to literally any program, but
Hmm.
those are so far and few between
Yep.
that you have to identify what makes that kind of recruit so enviable, so viable. So I have my own personal list of criteria that I use when I talk with students, and I have my opening conversations with them when I do follow-ups. How do I see, like, what do I see when they're engaging with me? Are they initiating conversations, or am I being the one initiating all the conversations? How am I judging them on the call? What kind of distractions are they doing? It's one thing with recruiting, especially if you're doing recruiting online through Discord. You'll notice a lot of students are just passively playing a game in the background when you're talking, and that is so highly unprofessional. But it is almost expected at this point. So, like finding the students that don't do that, that actually sit down and give their attention to you, is invaluable. Like that alone speaks volumes to their ethic. So, it's another challenge, I guess, in that same vein of your question is what have I done to change my recruiting process? And I think
Mhm.
that's a really big part of it, is identifying those criteria.
I mean, yeah, and that makes sense too. I mean, recruiting in general is kind of always trial and error too, just based on what kind of works for you,
Mhm.
because everyone it'll work a little bit different no matter what, because every program recruits for a little bit different type of stuff. So, um, what in the reverse of what I asked you, what's kind of the most proud moment or biggest achievement within your program?
Yeah. So there's a few.
Yeah.
Not one in particular really stands out to me, except for me becoming a full-time staff member. I think that was probably the biggest moment of the program and of my own personal career with the program, because when I very first started it up, there was only me. My
Hmm.
boss, the athletic director, just said, "Hey, this school is doing esports. I don't really know what it is, but you sound like you know what it is. Let's go build it together." And I said, "Okay, great." It was less of together and more of you go build it.
Yeah.
So it took a long time, and like I said, and I'll cut all that crap out, but um, after really sitting down and like going through so much failure and so much growth, both positive and negative, really, and but achieving what I did within the first kind of couple years of the program and being able to be hired on full time, selling myself, my vision for the program, the kind of future for the program was huge because when they hired me on, not only did they hire me on that day, but they also invested into the facility and they invested more into scholarships. So it really told me that, hey, even with everything said and done, the school is taking this serious. They do care about me and the program and the students in the program, and it's not
Mhm.
just like a bonus piece for them. Like it's a legitimate growth value for them.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean that definitely sounds difficult. Glad you're able to get the program to where it is today, and
Thank you.
that's definitely an accomplishment there as well. Kind of last thing to go off of here, for any student and or player watching, if you could give one piece of advice, what would that be?
Talk. Just talk with them, man. Just talk with whoever it is, a director, coach, another player on the team. Just talk with them. Make sure to have questions. Like if you can show that you know what you're talking about, that you know a bit about the school, a bit about their history, you've done your own little research. It takes 5-10 minutes to look up their past on socials and on their website. But just ask them questions on like what's going on, how could I fit in, where can I help? Is this mutually beneficial for both of us? Because at the end of the day, it's an equivalent exchange. You're either going to be brought into a program, even if they don't have scholarship, you're being brought in to a program that has value, that has a community around it, that has maybe a facility around it, that has the ability to travel for events or they're hosting events. So it's a big student club. They have engagement on campus, or they have scholarships and they have maybe piecemeal from each of those categories. And so identifying what do they have for you and what do you have for them, and just talk, man. Ask questions, be proactive. Don't always wait for them to respond and always try to reach out as well. I think that's a big, big boon to any recruit.
So how big is the difference to you between a recruit who is kind of more, trying to get that scholarship or, trying to go to your school or get recruited compared to someone who's like just not communicating as much or maybe seems like, you're questioning if he even wants to go play in college?
So, really good question. So, the- man, I hate to really say it, but the people that put in that effort and that I don't have to initiate every follow up with, that
Hmm.
shows me that they care, that they want to be a part of the program. I've landed almost every single person in a pretty good size scholarship, regardless of their skill and stature, just because of their drive and dedication to their craft, whatever it may be, competitive or non competitive,
Hmm.
because of how engaged I can tell they are and that I've invested into them. And so far, every single soul that I brought on campus over the past year and a half with my new recruiting process that have met that have been outperforming and exceeding everything that I've thought they could do plus more. So it's night and day, man. It's night and day.
Yeah, no, I mean that's definitely a big thing, and even like you mentioned earlier, one of the traits you're looking for is communication and stuff like that. It's definitely an important thing because playing in a team game is all about communication, and it's just a big part of life in general. So,
Amen.
um, but for sure, so that'll kind of wrap it up here with Lucas Hayworth. But before we go, I'll give you a sec to just plug anything that you'd like for people to be able to kind of learn more about your program.
Yeah, so thank you so much, Nick, and thank you so much, Stay Plugged In, for having me on. If you're interested at all in talking with me, whether it's recruiting or not, if you just want to get in contact with me, if you're through Stay Plugged In, you can obviously reach out to me through Oklahoma Christian University. If you wanted to find us on Twitter, it's OC_esports_. You could find us through there. You can directly message me online through that as well. If you want to hit me up on email, it's Lucas, Lucas dot Hayworth, Lucas.Hayworth at oc.edu. Just send me a mail. Get me connected. I'll give you my Discord. We'll talk. I'm more than down to have conversations with anybody. But if you're especially interested in being a part of my program, being a part of our university, just hit me up, man. Would love to talk.
Awesome. Well, for all those watching, definitely check out his program. I know he's got some great things going on there. Continue to see working from the ground up, like you said, full-time director now. So just going to keep killing it over there at Oklahoma Christian University. But
Amen.
until next episode, we will see you guys next time.
Thank you so much.